day, and I'm not laboring today, except for household laboring, which I don't usually count because I get to do that with family and kind of go at my own pace. Kind of nice. But I thought I would share. I started to allude to this yesterday on the live I did, and then I decided I already, well, one, I was having trouble with internet, and two, we'd already covered a lot of stuff. Um, and and why am I including this on the Rehab and Documentation Guru's channel? Was my channel. But secondly, the reason I'm including it is again, it goes back to the rights of healthcare workers. Because in the end, all healthcare workers are themselves patients and they have the right to accept or refuse healthcare. And let me give you a brief synopsis of my daughter's story without disclosing her specific information. I mean, she's my daughter, but I won't disclose the characters involved, including the school. So she's in nursing school, and she's just started her last year, and the school, of course, has nursing students engaged in clinicals as part of their education. Like any medical professional has to go through clinicals or whatever word they might use for that, where they spend actual time working with patients in a setting, in this case for her, a hospital setting, where she's under the guidance of a nurse, a licensed nurse, for certain educational objectives that they're to achieve during that clinical. So, about a month ago, roughly, maybe a little bit more, I can't remember the exact timeline, she received word from her school in writing that the hospital center, which I happen to work for, the hospital system, I should say, was requiring the vaccine. Therefore, because that was a requirement, either they got the vaccine or they dropped out of the nursing program. Those were the two options. And they sent out a memo. And that memo had the title of the hospital system I work for. Um, but I remember when I first saw it, it looked a little bit odd. It didn't quite look like the letterhead I'm used to from the hospital. So anyway, she shared it with me because she was distraught because she had made the decision that she was not going to get the vaccine herself. So I said, well, we're fighting this because I know the hospital system I work for offers a medical exemption. Why? Because I've applied for it, because I got it, and so I said, this doesn't seem right, and but we're going to fight it. So last week, I invited by my daughter sat down in a meeting with the dean of her school, with two of the department heads in her school. So and if I hadn't been there, it would have been three of them against my daughter. Does that sound fair? First of all, so anyway, I was there. My daughter invited me, and they started telling her, well, it's not up to us. It's up to the hospital system. They've said, they don't have any religious exemption. And so the way we left it during the meeting was if the school, I'm sorry, if the hospital system took on her exemption and accepted it, would the school be okay with it? And they said yes, they would. And they agreed that she had a valid sounding religious reason for not doing it. And their school does not discriminate against religious people. And so it wasn't fair that the nursing program should be singled out. All of this being said, um, I ended up contacting the hospital because through the employee portal you could apply for religious exemption. But what you could not do is, as a student, there was a couple of questions you couldn't answer because there were drop downs like what department do you work in and who is your supervisor, and she couldn't answer that. So we randomly chose department, and I chose the vice president of human resources. And then I emailed the vice president of human resources at my hospital system and said, here's the situation. And she said, well, she has to go through her school. And then if the school approves the religious exemption, then she's good. And I said, really? That's news to me. I didn't say that, but I said, Well, I'm kind of at an impasse because you're saying the school needs to approve the religious exemption. They're saying that the hospital system needs to approve the religious exemption. So the school needs guidance from the hospital system directly saying that they can do the religious exemption and that's good. And then she had her assistant. So this is the vice president of human resources. She had her assistant email me what they had sent out as a memo to all the schools. And guess what? It wasn't anything like they shared with the students. In fact, I could tell that they'd given the students had been what's called redacted, meaning you alter the contents. You eliminate or you add to, and then you reformat so that it looks official, but it's not really. So, needless to say, when I saw that, I was pretty livid. And so I emailed the school. And I'm going to read to you the email because one of the things I think we need to do is call out baloney when we see it, and um, and be bold about it. We don't have to be jerks, but just be straightforward, honest, and don't give them any leeway. So here's what I wrote. I won't include name. Doctor So and So, Haley. Well, there's my daughter's name. Haley has asked me to directly email you concerning this, and I'm including her in this email for confirmation. Please see the attached guidance sheet that my hospital system, I'll just leave it at that, Human Resources Department states they sent to all schools concerning the COVID vaccine. Note point number 2 on the guidance sheet. And then the point number 2, the question was, how do I request a vaccine exemption? And then explain. And explains that the school just needs to have its own, exemption. So then I said, the conclusions drawn from this guidance sheet include the following. Schools were informed in writing that blank hospital system allows for student exemptions if the school approves the exemption themselves. B. The fact sheet distributed to the students as instructive concerning the vaccination compliance appears to be redacted by the school or some other entity from the original guidance provided by blank hospital system prior to being shared with students. I have requested that the hospital system HR team reach out to you concerning this error in communicating hospital system's intent for students from affiliate schools. In regards to our recent video conference, we discussed the following points related to school policy. School, so I'm just saying school in place of the name. School does not require mandate the vaccine. That is true. I called to confirm that. School does not require a student to disclose their vaccination status for COVID. Again, I confirm that. School does not discriminate on the basis of sincerely held religious belief, and that's clearly articulated in their policy of non-discrimination. That's available on their website. Then I said, my daughter has a sincerely held religious belief, meticulously and logically articulated, which has been provided to school. E. It is clearly stated that if the decision was up to school, and this is from the meeting, then it would be settled that Haley had a valid religious exemption based upon her sincerely held religious beliefs and that she would not be discriminated against. Therefore, in light of the guidance from hospital system, Haley's clear religious exemption statement, school's non-discriminatory policy, and the affirmation provided during the meeting, it is my expectation that she be allowed to finish her program in nursing as a student at school. Furthermore, and this is what we found out during this meeting that I'm addressing. Furthermore, it appears that some students provided inaccurate information concerning hospital policy, have unnecessarily withdrawn from the nursing program, been coerced to receive the vaccine, or have delayed their studies. I am sure they will appreciate the same information I'm providing and the same treatment that I am expecting will be afforded to my daughter. Thank you for your time and action concerning this. So what happened after that? Well, the next day, my daughter and all the students of her program received an email with a suddenly new policy that they can have vaccine mandates. Meanwhile, some of the students had already stopped taking classes for the semester. They were delaying. I don't know if anybody withdrew, but I knew about the stoppage of taking classes for some. And one girl who wasn't going to get the vaccine decided to go ahead. She weighed her options, and I guess she felt her convictions were not her conviction of keeping on going with school was stronger than her religious conviction to not get the vaccine. So she went ahead and got the vaccine. And then this came out, and she's ticked, as I would be too. So, anyway, what's the moral of the story in this? Number one, don't trust your organizations to be telling you the truth. Okay? This is a highly reputable school in our area. The program is well known in the area. Graduates from this program are sought after in this area. My daughter is a top student in her class. Don't trust your school because even though they recognize her as a very valuable student who will be an asset to the nursing profession, they lied through their teeth. And I don't know what level they lied, but somebody redacted the policy from the hospital to make it appear that nursing students had no options but to either get the vaccine or to leave the program. And that, my friends, is wrong. And so I encourage you, if you're getting push from, let's say, a supervisor saying, no, we don't offer religious exemption, push, fight, just articulate fact. You have the law on your side. You have, various laws that came into effect since, like, for example, non-discrimination laws starting back to 1964. You have a right as a religious believer exempting yourself from the vaccine to stick to stay your ground, and you have a right to see clearly articulated policy on this too. Clearly articulated. And this is a case where they messed up the policy and they got called on the carpet. And kudos to my daughter for staying her ground, for not capitulating. She did go through a should I get the vaccine? Like, just to stay in nursing moment. And I respect that. She weighed that. She's like, nope, my convictions are stronger than that. Kudos to her for staying her ground. And that's what we all need to do. Anyway, God bless you all. Hope you have a great day. John Adamson, the Rehab and Documentation Guru. Until next time.